Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Paint With Me Live. Now, we have not done this stream in a really long time, and we have a lot of catching up to do. So my name is Brittany Lewis, and I am a professional illustrator and graphic designer, and usually we do this stream on Sunday, but this month we've had so many busy Sundays that I decided to do this week's stream on Friday, but next week we'll get back to schedule and everything. But hey, TN lady, I'm so happy to see you. Listen, it's been a really long time, so I'm trying to remember like how to do this. So before we get into our live stream today, please do me a huge favor. If you like live creation videos, if you would like to learn more about me, if you would like to just sort of push this video out to more people and help me out in that way, please be sure to hit the like button. It helps me out so much. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. I have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. That's just something I'd like to do. Let's see if we can do it. This last couple weeks I have sort of done more than I could have imagined in the last few years, so we'll get into all of that in just a moment. But 1,000 subscribers is one of those things I would love to accomplish. So if you would like to get more live creation videos, see more art videos as well, because I have a lot more of that coming as well. Please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. So I hope y'all have been doing okay. I have not streamed, I guess, in like about a week and a half or so. So in the last 2 weeks I have been working on preparing for an exhibition. So I'm going to show you guys some artwork. The last Paint With Me Live that we did, I was actually sketching the drawing or the concept for that particular painting, and I finished it on time. It was definitely a mad dash, but the thing about it was that it didn't feel like I was rushing. It did not feel like I was rushing. I didn't feel super pressured or anything like that. It was just a really good experience. Again, we'll get into that in a second. But before we do that, I wanted to catch you guys up on what we'll be working on today. So I'll be here for about an hour. We're going to be picking back up with the 5 of Wands for the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. Now, because I've been working on other art and other projects, I have not actually spent any time working on the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, with the exception of maybe one Wednesday stream. So we gotta get caught back up. But just in case you guys have not seen the last few streams, I'll just kind of get you caught up. Now, the last card that we completed was the 5 of Cups. I'm super happy with the way that this turned out. This is actually the first time that when I opened it today, is the first time that I've seen this card in like maybe 3 or 4 weeks or so since I finished it. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really happy with the way that this card turned out. So this is the second card we've completed this year. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but I feel like we're making some pretty good progress. So we've knocked that one out. We're gonna close it out to free up some space, and then we are going to be working on the 5 of Wands today. So I only have 1.5 characters left to do. The other character, aside from the incomplete guy in yellow, is I kind of want to tweak the cowboy a little bit. I want to tighten him up because I like how the clothes and the skin tones and the shoes and all of that looks on the other 3 characters, and I want to make sure that I have him up to par as well. So we'll kind of go with that for a bit. Before we get back to him, we're going to work on our incomplete character and sort of make some progress here. Now, the last time I worked on this, I did finish his wand, which I'm happy about. I got to do his shirt, his skin, his hair, shoes, hands, all of that, and then we'll get to some new cards. So the next couple of cards that we'll be working on as we progress through this project are going to be the 5 of Swords as well as the 5 of Pentacles. So I've already started sketching the 5 of Swords. I have not yet started sketching the 5 of Pentacles yet, but we're making our way through. Right? So again, these last couple weeks have been eventful in the most like positive and wonderful way that I could imagine. So I'm really thankful for that. Really grateful for the opportunities that have come up, and really grateful for like the discernment to pick and choose the things that I participate in that actually feel like something that I should do. So I know in our last live stream I mentioned that there were 2 events. They were a week apart, and the first event, I knew when I signed up for it, I signed up for dates after that very first one, just so I can have an opportunity to go to it, see if I would be a good fit. And then it just did not feel like I should have gone on that first week. But I got an email back from the coordinator, and she was like, well, I'm sorry, we can't fit you in. And I was like, that was a weird sort of conversation, because I know that I signed up for different weeks. So it could be just an innocent, being tangled up. I'm not really sure. But I decided not to do that. And the day that I decided not to do it, I actually got invited to another event. And that's where sort of we are here. So just to catch you guys up, And what I've been doing, a couple Sundays ago, we worked on this particular drawing for a painting, for an exhibition called Using Our Art to Tell Our Stories, right? So this exhibition was a part of a weekend-long event that commemorated the massacre of Fort Pillow. So this happened near Memphis, Tennessee, where I live, and in it, this was a Civil War battle where men, women, children, and soldiers were all killed by the Confederate Army led by Nathan Beckford Forrest, right? So all of that happened. They dumped the bodies into mass graves, and it wasn't until I believe they said 2016 or so that they actually found where the bodies were buried, and they were able to give them a proper memorial. And this particular event that I participated in, the art part of it, is sort of sprung up from that, right? So I had the pleasure of being able to participate in that by creating art. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. When I first learned about it, I was like, well, I read the sort of the theme. I knew about the event, or sort of knew about a little bit of the event, but I wasn't really sure that the type of art that I create would be a good fit for it. So when I first heard about it, I was like, well, no, I'll just go to support the other artists, just kind of go for, whatever, just to observe, just to learn if I can, and then that was gonna be it. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even going to go to the art event. I was going to go to one of the reenactment events that they had, and I was going to do some photography, maybe meet some people, maybe get some commissions, and that was sort of the plan. But the day that I turned down the first event that I was invited to, I actually got a phone call from the coordinator, and she sort of she did her big one. She talked me into or just really didn't even talk me into it really. She just kind of explained to me the work that she does in genealogy and research, and specifically when it comes to this particular historical event, and then some of her sort of passion for history, some of her son's passion for history, some of the things that they've researched, and some of the things they've researched when it comes to their own family as well as the history of others. And I was like, you know what, okay. I know she asked me, she was like, well, it's about faith, and I was like, well, I don't have anything that deals with faith, because my mind went straight to religion, right? And after she sort of talked to me about it, and also shared some of the history of Memphis. I'm not originally from Memphis, but I've been here for a number of years, but just sort of hearing some of the history of the city that I live in was fascinating, especially being in a majority black city and hearing about sort of the disenfranchisement of black businesses and how that sort of crippled the economy here in the city. So all of that was super fascinating, right? So by the time I got done talking to her, I had an idea. I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Now, as I guess it's a cheat, maybe, I'm not really sure. My initial idea was to do something similar to the Three of Wands that I completed for the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, which is the project that we're going to be working on today. And I did not necessarily want to submit that particular illustration, one, because it's a part of this larger body of work, but also I wasn't really sure that I could tie that into this particular art exhibition. So I decided to make something similar, in this case leaning more into sort of the ancestral wisdom, and also the symbiotic relationship between the influence of our ancestors through their actions, through the cycles, through the mindsets, through the decisions, through the survival mode, and all of that, how that shapes us in our present day, but also how our actions in correcting some of those things and sort of overcoming some of those things and surpassing those limitations sort of helps bring those people into ascension. So it was a beautiful piece, and I'll show you guys here really quickly what it looked like. And then it hit me after the event was over, after I had the painting done and all of that. I was like, holy crap, I have work in a museum and I'm still alive to be able to see it and enjoy it. So that has been something that I've sort of come to terms with. I think in the moment, because I only had about 2 weeks from the time that she told me about it, I had maybe 15 days, right? I had about 15 days to do it. I tasked myself to stretch canvas for it. So because I didn't want to necessarily spend money or anything like that. Just kind of want to use the tools and the sort of the supplies and things like that I had on hand, because to me that made it much more personal when it came time to actually create the painting and put the canvas together and do all of that. So I decided to stretch canvas. We drew part of this on live. I used my husband and my son as references, but then I drew other people, of course. I shot the reference the day that I got off the phone with her, so I was ready to go. But it was the first time in my whole art career that I have a piece in a museum, which is a huge thing, right? It's also the first time since college that I've done a traditional painting, meaning with paints, brushes, and things like that, that was not somebody else's IP, meaning fan art, or it wasn't a commission. So this is the first original piece that I've done in a very, very long time in the traditional painting sense. Now, of course, you guys have been watching me for the last 6 years create the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. Thank you so much, Tia Lady. Tia Lady says congratulations. Y'all have been watching me create original digital illustrations, and of course we do original art for my the commissioner, people that commission me to do their work and hire me to do projects for them. But this is the first time that it was like all me. So I was like, right on. So this is how it ended up turning out. I'm really, really excited with the way that it turned out. I was experimenting everything. I had newspaper articles that I had found online, and not just sort of tragic articles. I really wanted to highlight positive sort of expressions of the Black American experience. So some of the articles go all the way back to right after slavery was abolished, where there's an interview with a man who was a former slave who had lived as a photographer and was then a preacher and all these things. There's an article that highlights my great-grandfather who came back a World War I veteran, and that article was super interesting because I've read it, and now I don't know if I mentioned this because I'm also recording a vlog, so I may have said it in the vlog video or a reel or something like that. But I'm gonna repeat it here. One of the things that I found super interesting after having read this article in recent days, and I've read this article a couple of times, I never noticed that they named the farm that his father worked on, right? So the article was written in 1919. His father was a part of a contest of servants across the city, and he was one that had worked on this particular farm for 20 years. So he had worked there since 1899, and then prior to that, they mentioned that he came from Middle Tennessee. So that helps me sort of track down family history in a way that I did not even notice the first time I read this a few years back. But that article was super informative in so many ways. I thought it was very, very interesting that my great-grandfather came back a veteran, right, for the United States Army, came back a veteran, and yet when they describe him in this article, they don't describe him or give him the dignity of being a man. They call him a boy, right? He's unable to go to the bank. He had sent money home to his wife, so he was unable to claim his money or withdraw any money from those deposits because of the color of his skin. So he had to actually go get a white landowner that he knew who was connected to the farm that his father worked on in order for him to access those funds. So all of that's really interesting, and I put all of it into this painting. So now we have a handmade canvas, a hand-stretched canvas, have a very personal article, have other articles. There was one that I included that was an interview with Marcus Garvey's wife, who expressed how much she believed in the youth of that day, right? And she believed in their progress and believed that they would do well moving forward. And so all of that sort of added to the energy of the painting, and I'm really, really excited and happy with the way that it turned out. It is for sale, so if you guys are in the city of Memphis, or if you are interested in purchasing this, if it does not sell while it's on display, let me know. We'll pack this thing up and I'll get it right to you. So I'm really excited, really happy with the way that it turned out, and really inspired as well, because as I was there, there are so many things that aligned with this particular event. First of all, it just came at the right time. It came at a time where I was already researching doing exhibitions, and in my mind I was thinking, well, I know it would be much easier to do a group one than it would do a solo one. For one, it would take me way longer to put together enough art for a solo exhibition, but also I was like, I could do a group one, but I don't know nobody. Right? And then no sooner as I said, well, I don't know anybody, someone who knew me recommended me to this particular event, so it lined up in that way, and I was super grateful for that. But as an artist, I think I was the youngest artist there, and everybody's art style was completely different, but the stories that everyone was telling was connected. That was the strangest thing. Now, I had never met any of these people, I had never seen any of their artwork or anything, but as we were sort of explaining our pieces, they all went together in the most magical way, because we also didn't submit any writing about the paintings that we were doing. It seemed to me that they were arranged in the wall in a very I don't even know how to explain it, in a way that sequential way, a very sequential way, right? Where you started at the beginning with this particular historical event, and then we get into all of the interpretations of faith with our ancestors and ourselves from past, present, and future, and then it went into Afrofuturism, and it was just a wonderful event. All right, so it was an all around good time. And again, I think it's just now hitting me, sort of, that I have art in a museum. It's just now hitting me that it came about the way that it did. It definitely is a testament to sort of going with things that align and not necessarily forcing yourself to do things because it's available to you, right? So the first event that I had, I was going to do just because I was like, well, I have been looking for events, and even though I didn't want to do this date, I could still set up, which was true. I could still set up. I had inventory, I have tables, I have like place settings, I have business cards, I have all of those things. I've been doing table vending for so long that it doesn't really take me very long to set up, pack up, to go or to leave. And I was like, I could do it, but something was nagging at me not to. And I'm really, really glad that I didn't. Right? Now, if it comes up again, if it feels right, I'll do it. If not, we won't. But when it comes to this particular illustration, now I did a few videos called Doing It for the Plot. And by that, I mean, when I did this exhibition, I had zero expectation of anything, right? I just kind of did it because I wanted to see if I could. I wanted to see what would happen. Things are still happening, right? In regards to that, I had zero expectations of any of it going any particular way, which I think helped me to create the piece because I didn't have as much pressure to get it right. Of course, I wasn't painting any specific person, so I didn't have the pressure of getting like the likeness right. Didn't have the pressure of sort of that comes when you do commissions for other people, especially when it's supposed to look like those people. So it's just really free form creativity. Now, of course, I planned it out, and I also did it in a way that I had to sort of manage my time. But there were a lot of firsts that took place in that particular project. I'm super proud of it. So if you guys are in Memphis between now and May the 16th, it is going to be on display at the Withers Collection Museum and Gallery on Beale Street, 333 Beale Street. And so if you would like to stop in and see it in person, as well as see some of the other art that is on display, I would highly recommend you do that. All right, so let's get into these Cosmic Gateways Tarot. And again, I have not worked on these cards. I know in a good couple weeks. It's been a minute, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Hopefully within the next 2 live streams or so, we should be finished with this card. Next week is a little less hectic, so we'll definitely make some time to finish this, as well as getting the next couple of cards done. What I will say though, going back to this exhibition, is that it definitely inspired me to want to create more traditional work, which I've been talking about for the last couple months, creating more traditional work. But now that I've done it in a way that is, again, not connected to anyone's IP or connected to sort of like a commission, I feel more confident about doing more original work, right? And because I was around other artists, and of course I'm an artist so I love being able to like look and study how other people do things and sort of pick up techniques and all of that. I sort of noticed things in the work that was on display that I often see in work that is in other museums, right, by even more established artists, that I want to try to incorporate into the work that I create. So it's going to be a nice creative year this year. I believe that. Now I do have a commission that is coming up, so I will be filming that as well. For it, we won't be stretching any canvas, but that is something that I want to show you guys, just sort of the process of stretching canvas, just in case it is something that you are interested in doing. Moving forward, I do enjoy stretching canvas, and I think, again, doing it for that particular project kind of gave me an opportunity to make it very personal, right? So not only was I putting my energy into the painting, I'm also putting my energy into creating the actual surface that's being painted. So it was nice, right? It was really, really nice. Also, I got to edit the vlog for that. Now, because I was in a bit of a rush, I did not film the painting process, right? Just because I needed to get it done as quickly as possible, and I just didn't have time to sort of set up the cameras and angles. My room was a mess, right? But I got it done. So with this next painting, of course, we'll go ahead and record that so that we have some speed paintings. I'm not really sure yet if I'm going to do a voiceover. Maybe I'll do 2 versions of it. I hadn't decided yet, but we'll be working on that here soon. So that'll be nice as well. That'll be a really good change of pace. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time since I've been working on it again on the computer, which gave me a really good break, because for the last 3 years or so, we have been, or no, longer than that, I would say the last 6 years, I have been working pretty much exclusively on the digital illustrations and things like that. And I missed traditional. I did. I also realized why it stopped, just because of the amount of stuff that comes with it, right? In terms of like pulling out paints, washing my brushes every day, making sure that they're clean so that I can keep them, for the longevity of it, and going through those motions. But at the same time, the actual sort of art of creating, right? The art of brush strokes, and not being able to like hit undo, right? I'm gonna tell you something that was odd. So of course, we've been working digital, like I said, for the last 6 years. For whatever reason in my mind, I was like, dang, I could use another layer, right? Because y'all hear me talk about layers on these digital illustrations quite often. So just sort of going through that and not being able to use the same sort of tools that are available through digital was really interesting. It was a nice, again, change of pace that allowed me to do something different, right? Do something different, exercise a different muscle that I have not exercised in a really long time, and I want to do more. And I think all of this kind of came from those doggone acrylic markers that I tried out a few months ago. And it's been nice. It really has. So again, don't let me brag too much on myself. I hope y'all are doing really well. Some other things that have taken place, have taken some workshops. I got a couple more coming up that I'm excited about as well. So the library here in Memphis does a really great job of offering like free resources for all kinds of things, right? So they have gardening workshops, they have photography workshops. You guys will hear me talk about photography club all the time. There have been filmmaking workshops. So one of the ones that I did while I've been on this hiatus has been a script to screen workshop. So learning how to write a movie script, also a television script as well, but just sort of how to take your ideas and turn those into scripts to be produced, right? Learning how to write for all of the people that are involved, which was really interesting, because I think in the broader sense of the idea of writing a script, my idea was that, or my understanding of it was that, okay, I know it's all dialogue, but I might need to describe, what the person is doing down to a T, whereas you want to write your scripts in a way that you're not writing necessarily for the audience, but you're writing for your director, you're writing for your lighting person, you're writing for your director of photography, you're writing for your sound person, you're writing for your editors, you're writing for all of these different people, and then looking at those scripts and seeing what different things mean and who they're talking to as they're describing certain things was really interesting. It was so doggone interesting. So I was like, okay, maybe that's something that we explore as well. So I know that I just been enjoying learning new things. I think that's just part of my nature. I've always been very much into learning new skills, just learning in general. So being able to go to those and just meeting people outside of the sort of graphic design and illustration space, hearing about how they create, hearing about some of the challenges and things like that, but also noticing the overlap between what I do for a living and what they do for a living, right? And how it all sort of is interconnected, how it all is pretty much the same thing, just through a different sort of medium. It's all visual storytelling, right? You're always trying to convey something, whether that's intentionally or unintentionally. And just sort of learning about that has been really fascinating. And I feel like it'll make what I do in terms of the illustration, even with graphic design, and when it comes to the paintings, I think to me it'll make those skills even stronger, right? Whether I will explore film or not, you know what I mean? At the very least, I'll definitely be finding some opportunities to do movie posters, because I have one coming up, as a matter of fact. So that'll be fun and very interesting. Again, just sort of meeting new people, meeting other creatives, and sort of learning about what it is that they do right? How they do it, how they think, how they structure different things, and being in like a fly on the wall and very much a beginner in the sense that I have no idea how any of that works, and just sort of being open to learn about it has been really, really a lot of fun. It's definitely been eye-opening, and it is something that I enjoy. I hope to do more of, hope to learn more from, and yeah, it's been great. It's been a great couple weeks, and I'm gonna tell you something. I needed the win. I ain't gonna tell you, don't tell. I needed the win, so I'm real happy that that's sort of starting. Things are starting to sort of shift in a much more positive way, because I have had, for my tarot enthusiast, I've had years of tarot moments, and so just to be able to see the culmination of all the hard work that I've put forth, just sort of, and then just enjoying the process and not necessarily being so stressed out about everything, right, has been really nice. And I would say that's probably the shift that I needed. Just create. Even like I said, when I was working on that painting, there was really no pressure. I felt absolutely no pressure, right? Matter of fact, I had to turn it in on a Friday, and I was thinking, you know, sometimes when I get that tight of a deadline, I'm thinking, I know I'm going to be working up to the last minute, right? I finished it that Thursday at midnight. I had plenty of time to stay up, you know, move around, scroll a little bit before I went to bed, and it was done, right? But I really thoroughly just enjoyed it. I don't know, just went with the flow. Was definitely, I feel, in a flow state when it came to creating that picture. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just putting in light and shadow, and I am using my reference as a guide. Now, of course, I'm not drawing the same little boy, but I am using his pose. I'm using his pose probably down to the T, his clothes, the shape of his shirt, the shape of the wands, all of that. I just decided to make it a different person. I decided to add locks to this character. And so all I am doing now is using the light and shadow of the little boy's arm, and I'm applying that principle to the arm of my character. Now, there are two different skin tones. They're pretty similar, but they're different enough to where I'm just looking at values, right? Looking at value ranges, and I'm trying my best to match it up as close as possible, and then we'll move on. Now, at a certain point, I'm going to turn off the sketch. I don't know if I'll do that just yet, but at a certain point, I will turn off the sketch just to kind of see where we are, and then I will go from there and make any adjustments that I see fit. So that's what we're doing, and we'll do this to all of his limbs, both of his arms and his legs as well. And again, we're sort of following the blueprint of our reference. So this is one of those references that's pretty close pose wise. It's pretty much one-to-one pose wise, but again, these are different characters. And I did that as well. Hey Montreal, it's good to see you. Look at you. It's good to see y'all. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and put in the light and shadow, and then we're going to move forward, and then we'll see where it goes. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll be done with this. But I have been so happy and just sort of satisfied with how things have been shaping up for the last couple weeks. Now again, I have a commission, so I'll be showing that as well. I'm not really sure if I'll be live streaming that or not, but I'll definitely record it because that has been requested by the person who commissioned this piece, and it's actually going to be tied to the event that we did this past week. They got my art into the museum, so I'm happy for that. And then after that, I have a movie poster to design. So we gonna be rocking and rolling for the next couple of weeks, and I think we're on our way up. Again, just having my art in a museum for the very first time in all of these years that I've been creating artwork, and having it be something that is a completely sort of original piece, right? So again, not connected to anyone else's IP, and also not anyone's sort of like portrait, someone else's face, has been a really, really I don't know, it's just been nice. It's been freeing, man. I've been having a really good time, so I'm excited for that. And I don't think this is gonna be the last time my art will be in a museum. It's certainly a surreal feeling to have it there now, and it's just now hitting me. And the museum itself. So let me tell you about this museum. So the museum is called the Withers Collection, Museum and Gallery. So this museum is commemorating the photography of a photographer called Ernest C. Withers. He was a photographer during the civil rights movement and captured things like the assassination of Dr. King. He also captured sort of some of the protests that were happening right before and after Dr. King died. He had captured some Negro League baseball games. He had done the funeral of of Medgar Evers, and there was so much photography on the wall. They had his cameras, and of course I like photography so that in and of itself was fascinating to see. But I think the weight of having my artwork amongst such legendary imagery, right, is just wow. It's wow. So I am so thankful for Mr. Phillips, who was the guy who recommended me to this event and who is the person who I'll be doing the commission for here soon. So grateful for that. To me, that means a whole lot. Mention me in rooms I may not be I may not be able to get access to, because I didn't know this was happening before speaking to him. I had no idea that they were doing that here in the city that I live in. And so to me, that is the way that you can support me. So if you can't afford to purchase artwork for me, it's okay. It's all right. I understand, right? But if you know people who are having events and things like that, if you know people who could use the services that I provide, if you ain't sure, just ask what I do, right? But if you know people who could support me in that way, if you cannot, that is to me the support that I appreciate. Right? So if you guys are new here and you want to recommend me to somebody, please do. I had some DMs recently from someone who had passed along sort of an opportunity to work on an album cover. So that type of thing means the world to me, because I know that everybody's not able to sort of purchase commissions or not able to purchase art or whatever the case is. But if you can recommend stuff, if you can say, hey, I saw this opportunity and I think you would be a great fit for it, maybe not, that to me means that means a lot. Right? That means a lot. That means so much more than trying to sort of get like free art and that kind of thing. Please don't do that. Right? But if you could pass my name along, put me in rooms that I may not have had access to me, that makes my heart smile. So I have had a lot of really, really cool alignment opportunities, a lot of really cool things come up that I'm super proud of, super happy and sort of honored to be a part of. And again, it's only up from here, right? And I want to see y'all win as well. I would love to see you guys share your wins and your victories. Even if you're sharing some of your struggles and things like that, be sure to mention it, because you never know who's watching and you never know who may have the information that you need in order for you to move forward. All right. So before we get any further, it looks like it's auto saving. So I know that we have a lot of new people who have been watching me of late. I would love to show you guys, since we're working on the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, I would love to show you what that actually looks like, where we are on this deck. All right. So this is a project I started in the year of 2019. Late 2019. And this is a project that I started because I read tarot. I love divination. I love sort of metaphysical things. That is right up my alley, right in my wheelhouse. So I was reading tarot, was not finding decks that I felt connected to. And I still sometimes have a difficult time doing that. And I still buy new decks to this day. But I think it has gotten better. But at the time that I actually started this project, I was not finding myself represented in the cards that were available on the market, right? And so I am the type of person that if I have the ability to do so, if there's something I want to do, I'm going to make it myself, right? Or at least I'm going to try, right? So I went into this project not necessarily having a plan. I just knew that there were a few things that I wanted to include. I wanted to make it a black deck, so I wanted to represent different parts of the African diaspora. The goal being to have a positive representation of black people in spiritual imagery, because that's what I was not seeing, right? That's what I was wanting. That's what I wasn't seeing. So I was like, okay, look, I'm an artist, right? I'm at a point in my career where I am sort of struggling with the art that I'm creating outside of the commissions, because I love doing portraits and things like that, and outside of some of the art that I was doing for my clients. Just in general, I was unhappy with the art that I was doing, but I also saw a need for something that I wanted. And so this was sort of my way of jumping in. I didn't have a plan. I had overthought this thing for years leading up to it, right? I did not sort of know everything that comes with creating a tarot deck. I had no idea, right? I just kind of jumped off in the deep end. That is something I have actually done in real life, right? Jumped in the deep end of a pool and just was like, either I'm gonna sink or I'm gonna swim, right? So that's kind of how it went with starting this particular project. Now, we've been working on this on and off for the last 6 years. This year will be year 7. My goal this year is to have 15 cards done. We're going to see how we do. I'm going to do my absolute best to get them 15 cards done. Last year we got 9 done. The year before that, I think maybe 3. And before that was only 1. And then the years prior to that, of course, I was working because we were in the pandemic. And that's all I had time to do, right? But I have been working on it off and on. I can see myself, the growth in my artwork, which is really interesting and really neat. Just from the very first card that I did, which was the High Priestess, to the last card that I did, which was the Five of Cups, I can kind of see where my growth has sort of shaped and shifted as I have worked my way through this project. Now, this project is going to consist of 78 cards. So that means 78 individual illustrations plus one, so 79 for the back design, which I have to figure out. As a part of creating a tarot deck, you not only are creating the images, you're doing the design for the labels. So how do you want your numbers and your words to lay out on the card? I did that pretty early on, so that as soon as I finish a card, I go ahead and prep it for print, right? That way I don't have to do it all at once at the end. The other part of that, of course, again, is designing the back. I have to design the box that it comes in. I also have to write a book, have it edited. I don't think I'll do a self-editing at all. I think that's something that I'll hire for. Have it edited, and then design the cover for it, and then all the marketing materials, and then, you know, all of the the pitch deck to get funding for it, so that when I do a Kickstarter or pre-orders, you guys can see exactly what's been done, exactly what we need to get it printed. And then I'll have different sort of other things that'll come with it, right? So I have some ideas for some other sort of items that you can purchase along with this deck that are all tied in together. Right? So I'm super excited for that. Now we are on card, I believe 43, I think 43 or 44. So we're more than halfway done with the deck. I'm real happy about that, right? Once we hit that halfway mark, seemed like things just kind of took off. So I'm happy for that. So as I work through my commissions and projects and things like that, we'll still stream our twice a week for Wednesdays and Sundays. Now again, Wednesdays, I'll sort of open it up to whatever I'm working on. So last Sunday, for example, hey Black Z2, come on now. So I think the last Sunday stream that we did, I worked on the sketching for the painting. That'll be something I would save for like Wednesday, but at that time I just need to get it done. So those Wednesday streams will be open to whatever is happening, right? So for the movie poster that I'll be working on, if I'm rendering it at a certain point and I need to do that during the Wednesday, we'll do that on the Wednesday stream. But otherwise, we'll actually be working on Sundays for sure to work on our Cosmic Avis Tarot. So something I always tell you guys to do, I always suggest, is make sure that you're making time for the projects and the things that you want to do. Because otherwise, there's always going to be other stuff going on, right? Good or bad, for good or for ill, there's always going to be other things happening. So if you are trying to accomplish something, you have to make time to do it, right? You have to make time for it, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes a day. It could be a whole day. For instance, Sundays is the day that I set aside for it. Of course, today is Friday because this Sunday I have other things going, but I wanted to make sure that I set aside this evening to work on the Cosmic Avis Tarot. So back to this painting. So again, I am just adding light and shadow to this. So let me be a testament. You know what I mean? I'm just really excited for, again, some of the opportunities that have come up, some of the projects that I'm sort of blessed to be a part of, because again, it has been it's really been a long 3 years. I want to say from 2020 to probably the end of 2023 were great, right? I know that a lot of people were at home 2020, and so they were super supportive. I was ironically getting quite a lot of work 2020, 2021, but I also just had a lot of time to work on this particular project, meet some of you guys. So some of you guys have been with me since 2020, right? Prior to that, of course, I was doing a lot of conventions, and so we were doing a lot of art, again, tied to other people's IP for the convention space. And so I would squeeze in an original digital illustration from time to time, but I was not doing very many digital traditional paintings. So again, I had an opportunity recently that came up. I'm super happy about, right? Super duper happy about. And I'm hoping that I can see myself getting more opportunities like that. Just, again, going with the flow, picking and choosing things that sort of fit and align and feel good and feel like the highest excitement, which is exactly what I did. I wanted to exercise choosing something that felt like the highest excitement, even if it seemed like right, it was gonna be a lot of work. Even if it seemed like that's exactly what I was gonna do and just working, it felt to me like the highest excitement, and that excitement carried through the entire 2-week project. Right? So I want to do much more of that. I want to, of course, paint some more. I really enjoyed that. I didn't film the process, which I normally do for that particular painting. I just didn't have the time to. I did do a few reels, so I hope you guys had an opportunity to see some of those. And then I'll be putting together a vlog soon, just to sort of talk about. I film little bits and clips and things like that along the way, to just show you guys what the process was like to get it done. It's such a short amount of time. But one thing I will say is, while I was there, again, I was the youngest artist. I would say I was probably the youngest artist there. That was the first time I felt super embraced by elders. Right? I mean, I'm talking about, they were proud of me, and I had just met them. You know what I mean? I had just met a lot of them. I could tell that they were super proud of the work. Of course, I was proud of them as well. Just some of the work that was on the walls was phenomenal. But that was the first time I feel like in my life that I had elders that were like that didn't know me, that was like genuinely rooting for me. I was like, hot dog. I was like, let's go. I really enjoyed that as well. So it's been it's been a good journey. So I'm excited for that. All right, what did I just do? Now, I just put in a thumbnail. I'm going to deselect this. And what I'm going to do now is actually turn off my sketch, just to see how it's looking, right? Because the sketch will give me a little bit of a false read. Sometimes we'll have those lines and it'll look real good, but as soon as I turn off that sketch, it might look like, I don't know what. So far it looks good. This gives me a much better idea of what the illustration itself is looking like with the sketch turned off. Now I can kind of smooth things out, move things around, make sure that it looks as good as our other characters, and then we'll turn the sketch back on and we'll get other parts of this illustration done. So again, hope y'all are doing all right. Really happy to see you guys in the chat. Real happy to have you stop in. What am I doing? There we go, on the wrong button. Real happy to see y'all this week, and I hope to see you guys in our next live stream, which will be Wednesday at 12:45, where we're going to be doing the Bring Your Own project, and that one will very likely be working on this card as well, just so I can go on and knock it out, and we can get to the 5 of Swords. So the 5 of Swords is going to be based on the illustration. I don't know, I need to look this up. There is a painting of the deity Kali from the Hindu tradition, and she's blue and she has like her tongue out and she's stepping on, I believe it's Shiva. Don't quote me. We'll look it up and make sure I get the information correct. But she's stepping on Shiva's chest and she's holding a head, and then she has other things like a necklace of skulls and just all kinds of things, right? So the 5 of Swords for this particular deck is going to be modeled after that. It's going to be heavily inspired by that particular illustration. Now, I recently learned that she has her tongue stuck out because it is at that point that she realizes she's gone too far. Now, the twist that I would like to take for the 5 of Swords, I don't want my character to feel like she's gone too far. It will be a woman, right? I want to sort of embody that womanly rage, right? I want her to feel like she has to win at all costs. I do not want her to feel or do anything that symbolizes she's gone too far, whether she has or has not. So I've actually started to work on that. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. I found a posing website. Typically what I'll do is I'll use Clip Studios 3D models, or I'll use there's a poser app on my phone. Sometimes I use the skull pose and things like that. But what I did was I found a website that allowed me to sort of pose everything, and it also allowed me to have the same lighting for each character, which was helpful. So I have the same pose, so I just have to draw it, have that ready to go. The next card, of course, is going to be the 5 of Pentacles, which I'm going to have a bakery scene. So there'll be like a kid standing in front of a window, and then in that window are going to be like some odds and ends and things like that, and we'll have the 5 Pentacles sort of spread out throughout that particular window. So that's going to be fun, and then those will be the rest of the 5s. We'll have it knocked out. After that, it's going to be the 6s. Now I do have the 6s planned, so it'll just be a matter of securing those plans, because I know a couple of cards I was not really sure about. So we'll go ahead and make sure that I finalize what that's going to look like for each of the cards, and then we'll start drawing on those. Once I get about halfway through the 6s, I'll go ahead and do the same sort of steps of planning the 7s and 8s. Now, whether or not we get through the 7s and 8s by the end of the year, we'll see, right? But if I have sort of that plan in place, that developmental sheet week in place, I think it'll be a much easier for me to just jump right into drawing, as it has proven to be with the 5s. So we got some work ahead of us. I'm super again honored to have you guys here. We're gonna wrap it up. I think I'm gonna call it. I am gonna work on this some more because I have some workshops this weekend, so we'll not be able to work on it on my normal Sunday Sunday or Saturday. Saturdays is usually my off day, but this Saturday I have a workshop to attend, so I'm gonna work on this some more this evening, and then hopefully Wednesday we'll have much more progress going. But if you're joining me live or the replay, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you guys for stopping in. This gonna be a real quick one because it's getting late and I gotta eat. So I appreciate y'all for stopping in. Shout out to TN Lady, shout out to Montreal, shout out to Black Zetsu. I'm so happy to see you guys in the chat. And again, if you like these kind of live creation videos, be sure to hit the like button. It helps me out so much, and it helps push the video out to more people. Again, when we go back to supporting me, right, one thing I guess I have not been super clear about what that support looks like. Of course, buying art is always a great gesture. I love that. I love to get my art to you guys. I love to see you guys appreciate it, but I do realize that everyone is not able to get it, and that's okay, right? So other ways that you can support me is by hitting the like button. Do that. That's super easy, right? Another way that you can support me, if you have not already, is to subscribe to the channel. And one of the biggest ones, one of the most sort of the strongest support memes that I wholly appreciate, right, is send the business my way, right? Send people. If you see an event you think I would be a great fit for, if you know somebody who's looking for an artist or is looking for someone to hire for whatever their creative project is, send them my way, right? That helps me out so much, and from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate it. So without further ado, I hope you guys have a happy, creative, and prosperous weekend, right? Because we have Friday. And until then, peace.